I can relate that so much to marriage that if you're not committed and you're kind of, like in, kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Sure.
And if you don't have that commitment, when that hill comes and it's challenging and you're, 20 miles into that race and you've hit that wall, what's keeping you still running? This is Ryan and Michelle, and welcome to the Celebrate MarriageCast, where we hope to restore and reclaim godly marriages through honest and real conversations.
Welcome to episode 145. We are so proud of you, listener, for making this investment in time to grow and develop your marriage. Welcome to the show. And hello, Ryan.
Hello, Michelle.
How's it going? I feel like I haven't talked to you all day today.
It has been one of those days.
Yeah, we record on Wednesdays. They air on Tuesdays. We record on Wednesdays, and I feel like it's been a whirl.
Yeah.
We usually drive here together, but today we drove separate. So it's like, hello, spouse.
Hello.
Let's go record a podcast.
Absolutely.
You wrote today's show based on last week.
We are in part 2 of a part 2 series about insuring your marriage.
I like it. You guys, this is Ryan's work. He works in investments primarily, but is also in the world of insurance.
Yeah.
And this is you. So You put together this show for us. We're going to do a recap and close it out today.
Yeah, Michelle, so quick recap. In the insurance world, there's something called P&C insurance, and that is short for property and casualty insurance.
Okay.
So what those are, think of property insurance covers your things, such as your house, your car, while the casualty covers essentially your legal responsibility. Another great term for that is liability coverage.
Okay. So somebody is walking up to our house and they trip on our sidewalk. It covers any harm to the people.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
You got it. So we built off of this last week using this acronym P&C. And we thought, we're thinking through this about how do we help to insure our marriages? So, Michelle, last week we talked about the P in this acronym.
Yeah, Ryan, I love this show that you put together. So in this case, it's not property and casualty for your marriage, but we are talking about how to pursue using P&C. So how to insure your marriage. I give it away.
Yeah.
How to insure your marriage using P&C. So last week we talked about pursue was the P. So pursuing, first and foremost, you're pursuing God and then your spouse. So we talked about how to build that foundation on faith. On God, because all their ground is sinking sand. And when that is in place as a solid foundation, then everything else benefits from it. When you're individually seeking God, it benefits your marriage.
Yeah.
And then to pursue your spouse, to never give up that pursuit on a daily basis, not just coasting. I think we gave a few examples last week that were just really great about. It's not a one and done type deal. It's not like, okay, I got it, now it's done. It's continually every day pursuing. One example, and this is really timely with the World Cup, but if you're a sports team and you win and you pursue and you win, let's say the Golden Boot, you don't live on that. It's great and you're going to celebrate, but 20 years from now, you're probably not, well, maybe you are, but you're probably not still referring to that event from 20 years. You're still pursuing, right? In that current year, you're still pursuing. So a sports team now, they're all pursuing the 2026 World Cup, the Golden Boot. They're not sitting back and talking about 1980. I mean, maybe it's fun to share those stories, but that's not defining them. They're continuing to pursue. So pursuing God, pursuing your spouse every day.
Yeah. Michelle, that's perfect. It's that idea of just because you win a championship, you need to continue to put in the work to continue to win a championship. And I think that was really the premise behind it, is this idea of pursuing, being in constant pursuit of God and constant pursuit of your spouse.
Yeah, that's great. And for us, I mean, I think that I don't think we shared our personal examples, but I mean, it's every day we're in the Word. We did share that. Everyone in our family is in the Word every day, but we're also, despite us not talking to each other for most of today, we will connect tonight. We'll sit, we'll catch up. We will, sit in our living room and read and visit about our day. And we make sure that every day we're having that time to connect. You did send me a message at 11:12 today because you missed 11:11, which I really appreciated. But so we had stuff like that. We had a few text messages today, but every day we're pursuing each other.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
Michelle, this week we're going to talk about the second part of this acronym.
Chocolate.
And well, that's a great response. Yes.
It's the first word that came to my mind. But what do you have for us, Ryan?
Right. So the second way to really ensure your marriage is commitment. And I'm going to share two scriptures here. I just found them both and I just thought, wow, this is so good. Proverbs 16:3 says, commit your actions to the Lord and your plans will succeed. And then Psalm 37:5 says, commit everything you do to the Lord. Trust him and he will help you. So I think it's worth asking the question, what are you committed to? Because what you commit to is what you will follow through with. There's so much buzz right now about busy.
Sure.
And people like to say busy, but it's really not about being busy. It's about being overcommitted.
Unpack that a little more for us.
Well, I mean, I think busy softens it a little bit, but like when you use that word commitment, right? You are saying that it's a priority.
Sure.
It's a priority in your life. And so if you're really busy and you're running all over the place and you're doing this and that, I hate to like ruffle feathers, but it really is a matter of just being overcommitted.
Yeah, okay. So I'm tracking with you, Ryan. So essentially you're saying that in our society, it's easy for people to dismiss not doing something and to excuse it because they say, well, we're so busy.
Yeah.
I didn't make it to church because we were so busy. We're busy with sports. I didn't make it to life group because we were busy. I didn't go on a date with my husband because, you know what? We're busy this week. Whatever is going on. Right. But try that same line with, it wasn't a priority. I was overcommitted.
Yeah.
I didn't go to church this week because we were overcommitted and it wasn't a priority.
Yeah.
I didn't go to life group this week because we were overcommitted and it wasn't a priority. I didn't go on a date with my husband because I was overcommitted. It's not a priority. So you're saying switch your words because really it comes down to, is it a commitment?
Yeah.
Are you committed to it?
Yeah.
And yes or no, it's either a priority or it's not.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think every moment of life that I can think of, right, is when I made a commitment, right, it was, I followed through with that.
Sure.
And so like, even going back years, when programs still aired live on TV.
Okay.
Right? Like
taking us the way back machine.
There was a, like you'd have a show that you would watch. And there was a show that I watched every Monday. And it's amazing how my Mondays were like, I was busy because I was committed to watching this show.
Okay. Yeah.
And so like every Monday for 2 hours, I would watch this show.
Everybody wants to know what the show was. They're probably thinking, what shows aired on Monday? Was it Survivor?
This is sort of embarrassing. Growing up, I was a huge wrestling fan. And so wrestling was on. And sure enough, every Monday, it didn't matter. It didn't matter if I had homework. It didn't matter if I had anything else. I was committed to it. Right. And so I would watch it every single Monday, which sounds really bad when I say it out loud, but it was a priority.
Yeah.
And I think so often like commitment, like it is a strong word, but like you have to really evaluate what are you committed to because your life will follow.
Yeah, I'm looking back at Proverbs 16:3 that you read, commit your actions to the Lord and your plans will succeed. Well, it's kind of like input output. So if you're committing 2 hours of wrestling, which is really sweet, and you probably watched it with family and it probably was great,
Yes.
but that's the output. So if you're committing that, do you want that area of your life to succeed? Like, what are you committing and what do you want to see succeed? So I think what's really cool is that, our kids are amazing. We've talked about them often, but they're really amazing. But I think about all of the things that, and it's easy to be like, oh, they're just, they're just great kids. But it's not really that. It's all of these plans that we committed for all of these years. It's every weekend, or, if we're gone, we would watch in the car, but most weekends we are here and attending multiple services. I think about when Ella was in elementary school, there were some weeks she was attending 3 kids services a week or 2 services, and then you guys would go on a father-daughter date. But those are all those little things that, if you miss one weekend, is it going to be, devastating? We'll miss you here at church, but it's probably not. But on the flip side, if you miss another and another and another, is that damaging? Yeah, I'd say so, because on the flip side, one weekend, you attend one weekend, and is that life-changing? Yeah, we sure hope so. But, and maybe some life-changing things will happen. But if you attend a second and a third, but then you look at like our kids that have attended, we started coming here, Ella was 4.
Yeah.
Attending probably 45 plus weekends of the year. And for a lot of those years, 2 or 3 times a weekend. Now she's 20. So you have 16 years times, 45 weekends a year. Some of those are multiplied. And that's a lot of impact. That's a lot of commitment that now is bearing massive fruit from that committing over time.
Yeah.
And I think about that with our marriage and our relationship, it's just a lot of these things that we've committed to. And it might not seem like one is making a big difference, but when you commit to it over time, it really adds up.
Yeah. Yeah, Michelle, it's a great point. And really, I think there's two big commitments that I think you need to make. And I think one, God clearly gives us the blueprint here. I think God states it in Proverbs 16:3, commit your actions to the Lord and your plans will succeed. And I think we have to ask, like, are we committed to growing in our faith? I think that is the biggest commitment. Are you in church on Sundays? Are you with a community of believers that are helping you grow? Are you in the Word? Those things, Michelle, you said it, the fruit that comes from that. God clearly states it, like, commit your actions to the Lord and your plans will succeed. I think it's just really important to ask that, like, is it a commitment? Are you committed to it? Is it a priority?
I think, I love that you, reiterated that. I totally shared an example before your point. I'm just here for the ride today.
No, it's great. It's great.
Well, I'm glad that we're on the same page, because that's such a clear example. And I feel like that's something we see all the time, is people just being, they'll say we're just busy, but when it comes down to it, it's not a commitment. You haven't committed. So that's really great. And I think it's a good check for you. Like, do you find yourself saying, we're too busy to do this, fill in the blank? Like, what is that for you? And what are you, what spiritual thing are you maybe not doing because it's just not a commitment? Let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
It's commitment or it's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ryan, I think, okay, so the other one is, are you committed to God? Just like last week, we were going to pursue God first and then our spouse. So are you committed to growing in your relationship with God first? And then are you committed to your spouse? So on the surface, I feel like it's a really simple question. Oh yeah, of course I'm committed. Of course I'm committed to Ryan. But are you a priority for me? Is your spouse a priority for you? And does your schedule show it? Are you willing to do whatever it takes to make them a commitment, to make them a priority? So would you be willing to go to counseling for them? Would you be willing to, end your workday at 5:00 and be fully present and focused for them? Are you willing to have the necessary conversations that maybe you've been just shoving something down and not discussing it, but you know that they would really like to talk about it? Are you working through that conflict? Are you having healthy conversations? Are you doing the work that it takes to have a healthy marriage? Are you committed to it? Is it a priority?
Yeah. Michelle, I love that. And I think, again, talking about commitment, what just popped in my head is like, years ago, when we were training, like to run a marathon.
We used to, you guys, we have medal racks full of medals from marathons and half marathons we've done. It's kind of crazy. Seems like a different lifetime ago, but I have gotten back into running and it's been super fun.
Yeah.
But we trained and then we would travel all over the US and do these races.
Yeah.
And we would train so hard for so long.
Yeah. And Michelle, what came with that, at least for part of the time that I followed a training program.
Mm-hmm.
And I was committed to it. And it would tell me exactly what I needed to do on each day. Some days were harder than others, but I never missed a day.
I had mine printed off on paper. It was like Hal Higdon's, walking to running half marathon plan in 16 weeks or, whatever it was. I remember writing on paper, which feels so antiquated now, but I had this little paper tracker and because you knew that if you didn't do that, you were really being foolish.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I will say that there were seasons of our life that, this is really incredible to say, but that we just went out and ran a half marathon without training because we were in such great shape that we could, because we'd done the previous training. But for those first ones that we did, I knew I was not going to take shortcuts. Right. I had never done that.
Right.
So I knew that I had to be very disciplined and I had to follow this plan because if I wasn't committed, I wouldn't have the result I wanted.
Yeah. I just think of that, Michelle, of we had to be committed to the process, knowing that throughout that race, there would be hills, there would be things that came up.
That's a good analogy.
And if we hadn't trained, if we hadn't committed to doing it, it would have been easy to bow out.
Yeah.
And I think I can relate that so much to marriage that if you're not committed and you're kind of, in, kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Sure.
And if you don't have that commitment, when that hill comes and it's challenging and you're, 20 miles into that race and you've hit that wall, what's keeping you still running to keep going forward?
Yeah.
And that's why this is so critical to marriage, is to be committed.
I think for us, it's knowing that we're committed no matter what. Literally, no matter what, I'm committed to you. And there are certain things that we will never talk about, not like avoiding conflict, but words that we won't say or just conversations we won't go there if it's, we would never, ever throw around the divorce word. We would just never, we don't do that because we don't even want to give that a foothold or a seat. And we just know that I'm committed. I'm here through thick and thin.
Yeah.
Through everything. So it really, when that's off the table, it's we're going to get through this together.
Yeah.
We're on the same team. We're coming out,
Yeah.
And certainly we realize that there are, very unhealthy situations and things that we're not talking to you if that's you, but just for us, for I don't want to say a typical marriage, it's just boring blah, but that was just something for us that we committed to. I'm committed to you.
But it's a commitment, Michelle, to continue to make progress, to continue to work.
Sure. Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
Not that there's not going to be challenges and there's not going to be things, but commitment comes in the form of willing to willing to work,
Do the hard work.
to do the hard work, to get the help if you need it. And
On both of our parts.
on both of our parts. And obviously there's things or situations, completely understand that. And that's very different. But this is, it's just that commitment to do whatever you need to do to move forward, to make progress.
I think it's, so one of my top Clifton strengths is achiever. And I think there's something really powerful about mindset. And if you're like me and you've ever just been so determined that you're going to set a goal and make it, it's like that, right? Like I am just so like in my head, it's just, we're in this together for life. End of story.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really beautiful thing to know, that it's a commitment so deep that it's just whatever life throws at us, we're going through it together.
Yeah.
And that makes you stronger too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that. So
Absolutely.
Ryan, let's recap. So last week we talked about P&C, property and casualty for insurance, but how do you insure your marriage? So last week, the P stood for pursue. We were going to pursue God first and foremost, and then continue to pursue our spouse every single day. Today, we just talked about commitment, being committed to God and not letting yourself off the hook with just being busy, because busy is really saying that you're not committed and is not a priority. Like that's just another word for it. So try as you go throughout your week, if you find yourself saying, oh, I'm too busy for that. I mean, some things you maybe just do need to turn down, but if there are things that are going to grow your faith and grow your marriage, then I think it's worth asking yourself, am I really busy, or is it just not a commitment and not a priority? And second, being committed to your spouse no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great show.
Yeah. Thanks, Michelle.
That is how you ensure your marriage.
Yeah.
I feel like you should close us out. Any other closing thoughts on that? That was so good, Ryan. I
Michelle, I think those two things are so important for marriage, for longevity in marriage, is just continual pursuit and continual commitment.
Yeah.
And you know, part of both of those points were the same thing, because they're both very critical. You need to pursue God. You need to be committed to your faith. You need to be pursuing your spouse, and you need to be committed to your spouse. Like those two things are so critical for marriage.
Thanks, Ryan. Great show. I did pick up on the fact that those were the same for both. And I'm like, I like that. It feels like harmonious that they're all the same. Like pursue God, pursue your spouse.
Yeah.
Commit to God, commit to your spouse.
Yeah.
Marriage insured.
Yeah.
You guys, thank you so much for joining us today on the Celebrate MarriageCast. We want you to know that we have resources at Celebrate.church/marriage. And also we have our location and service times at Celebrate.church. We hope you have a great week.
Have a great week.